Hey guys, welcome to the new features that we're offering here at RealFit for the Unlimited members. You guys now get a look into and start delving deeper into the Results Expert environment, which is obviously the system that we're building here to try and help overcome all different types of stresses, not just obviously the training side of things, but also nutrition and stress management, motivation and discipline, which I will go over today. When you attack these different areas and you actually plan them and actually get a battle plan ready in place, you actually find it's easier then to chip away and actually achieve the goals that you want to out of the fitness industry. All too often you get people trying to sell you a quick fix and trying to offer you things that are going to get things done in 8 weeks or 12 weeks, but actually it's a lifelong process. After 15 years of training, 15 years plus of training, I'm still finding answers to questions that I have constantly, and it's always a learning process every single day. So when you come into this fitness industry and you actually start training to it, without understanding all these aspects of it, you think it's a very simple thing and you think it's all easily figured out, but actually there's a lot of processes in place. And what we're trying to do here with the Results environment is actually break those processes down for you so that you then get a battle plan, a actual way of doing things that you can do in a systematic way and get the results that you want. So today I'm going to cover the aspects that I am an expert at, an area that I believe that I have some sort of control over and I understand. And so obviously to give you guys as much information as I can and how I find to get around these situations, around these problems, and obviously help you guys out, get some strategies for you to do. So we're going to talk about the motivation and discipline. Now this isn't just this is a rah-rah video or something. Motivation and discipline get argued over in the industry quite a lot. What's more important, motivation or discipline? Discipline is more important. It should be over motivation and all those other aspects. But the actual thing is, without one, you can't have the other. And actually they both play a massive part in your overall fitness journey and where you actually want to end up. Again, hopefully with this video here, I'll explain why, I'll explain how it all works into place, and then over the months, over the weeks, obviously we'll delve back into motivation and I can start digging into each aspect and we can go over it in more detail for you. So an overall look at the motivation and discipline model. Basically what we're looking at is the formula to success. This is something that I came up with. It's basically a breakdown of what I believe are the important elements to getting any result that you want. So whatever area of life that may be, whether that be in training, whether that be in nutrition, whether that be in just life in general, in your career, if you follow this formula, you will lead to success. You'll get the actual goals that you want to get out of that particular thing. So what is it? R equals EC squared, which stands for results equals effort times consistency. And the way you can break down even further to actually fall in line with what we're talking about today, effort basically is the motivation, how much motivation you have. Obviously the more motivated you are, the more effort you're going to put into something. So you could argue that results equals motivation, and then consistency is just basically the discipline that you show in that particular exercise and that particular regimen that you want to go through. So the more consistent you are, the more disciplined you are, the more consistent you're going to be over that time. So if you get then nice and disciplined and do it over a load of time, if you keep the effort high because of your motivation, then obviously the results that you get are going to be more consistent. They're actually going to get the result that you need, rather than it being a target that you're aiming for, but you're just going to try and get there sporadically by doing the odd classes here and there, by doing trying to look after your diet, trying to do those certain things. Actually, if you stay more consistent and put the effort in, you're guaranteed almost that result from there. You can't guarantee anything in life, but it's as guaranteed as it can be when you're talking about exercise, nutrition and fitness and health and things like that. So as you can see, once again, you can put that into anything. The harder you work and the more consistent you are at work, the more likely you are to get that promotion you're looking for. The more effort you put into your relationships and the more consistent you do that, the more likely you'll have successful relationships with friends and family and loved ones and all the rest of it. So it works in any realm of life, and it's something that I truly believe in. Everything I do, I try and go through this process and work with it and always end up with that positive result from there. So what does it all mean though, really, in terms of how you're going about things? Well, your results is basically your goal, okay? Now I've put Be Smart here, I've also going to Be Smart later, I'll explain that a little later. But basically what you want to do is you want to set a goal, okay? If you don't have a goal, if it's just a wishy-washy thing, if it's just I want to lose some weight, or I want to be a bit healthier, or I want to, I want to be able to, move a bit better, it's not really going to attain to actually what you want to do, okay? It's a very wishy-washy goal. Yes, sure, you'll probably achieve that, but it's not going to feel that great really once you're there, because you're not really sure how you got there, or what the process was to get there. It's just you're kind of getting that goal, and that's great, but it's not really the best way to do things. You need to set a clear goal that you want to achieve, and when you've got that clear goal, it's much easier to plan and get yourself into that position rather than just hope and mess around from there. So that is what the results part of the equation stands for. It's your goal. It's what you actually want to achieve. Your motivation stroke effort, okay, is your why. Okay, why are you doing this? Why do you want to be, fitter? Why do you want to lose weight? Why do you want to, train more regularly? There has to be a why. Otherwise, you're not going to, obviously do it. You're going to find reasons and excuses to go around that, and without those whys, it's really just a pointless exercise of what you're doing. Okay, so when you're thinking of motivation, of effort, obviously, one thing that happens is people are very motivated. For example, let's just call it out, the start of the year, January, everyone's very motivated to get fit. But then by February, end of February, sort of March time, that motivation to get fit sort of wanes a little bit as you realise how consistent and hard work you've got to put in to get that result. So when you're looking at motivation and when you're looking at effort, you have to have a reason why you're going to do that. If you have that reason why, then obviously you can keep pushing and keep that motivation in check, because that's what's going to be your driver throughout, okay, on the darkest days. Your consistency and discipline is actually your how, okay? What you've got to think about with this is that if you properly plan what you're going to do, okay, if you know exactly how you're going to get to that goal, and you understand exactly what's going to get in your way, you understand the obstacles that are going to come, you're more than likely going to get there, okay? So when you're looking at each individual section, okay, that's what you've got to think about. Your results is your goal, okay, what you're setting. Your motivation and your effort is your why. Why am I going to achieve that goal? Why do I want to achieve that goal? And then your consistency or your discipline is then the how. How am I going to achieve that goal? What plans do I need to put in place? What do I need to avoid to ensure that I get to that end result? So that sets up the formula quite nicely. So the next bit we're going to go through really, what I want to say here, you can't achieve your goals without consistent effort. Okay, you can put it in that way as well. That's just a quotation of that particular thing. So it's the same idea really. I've just said it twice. I don't really know why, but we'll put that in there anyway. So if you don't have a goal, what do you need to do? Well, obviously you need to pick a goal. And when you pick that goal, you need to ensure that it's a SMART goal. Now, I will go through each section of this in more detail in future videos. What I don't want this to be is an hour-long video on the exact rumblings of this formula, because obviously we did a whole 45-minute seminar on it. There's a book that we're doing on this actual thing and actually breaking this down in much more detail. So there's lots of little things we can look into and build up our knowledge base on this. So what you want to do is you want to get a goal, you want to make sure it's SMART. SMART is simply just a case of being specific. So setting that specific goal, as I said before, not just a wishy-washy one. So that might be setting a 2-stone weight loss rather than saying you want to lose some weight. So that's a specific goal that we're setting from there. A measurable goal, obviously, if I say I want to lose 2 stone, then obviously I can measure that because I can step on a weighing scale, job done. I can measure whether I'm losing that weight over a particular time. Accountable, so I want people to be accountable to, whether it's your coach, whether it's your loved one, whether it's a family member, whether it's a friend, whoever it may be, you need some accountability. You need people to ensure that you're going to stick to your goal and work with you to support you through that goal. It needs to be realistic, probably the most important one, and one that actually comes on a little later on when we talk about discipline. But if it's not a realistic goal, if you're saying I want to lose 10 stone, for example, if you had to lose 10 stone, let's just say, and you wanted to lose that in 6 months, that's not really going to be a realistic goal. Let's go back to the 2-stone one and just say you want to lose that in 4 weeks, okay? If someone's promising you a 4-week 2-stone fat loss, it's not very realistic in terms of health, in terms of getting that consistent result. You may be able to do it, but let me tell you that those 4 weeks are going to be the worst 4 weeks of your life, and you're going to feel like absolute rubbish when you come out the other end, okay? So setting realistic goals, obviously, is then giving yourself a proper time frame and sending it through from there, which builds into your last bit, which is time-based. So it has to be time-based. If you have a specific goal to lose 2 stone, for example, you can measure it. You've been accountable because you told other people you're going to do it, and they're going to support you through those things. It's a realistic goal because you're going to set yourself 6 months' time to do it. Time-based, that is what you're doing. You're setting 6 months. That's a time-based thing. So in this date, in 6 months' time, I will lose 2 stone, and that is a perfectly smart goal to go through from there. And again, we will build into that a little bit more, and I'll start giving you more details and more examples of that. But that gives you a quick overview of the goal you want to pick. So you need to pick a goal, okay? It could be one goal, it could be a couple of goals, but don't pick too many goals. Always just try and chip away at one goal at a time, because if you've got one goal to focus on, it gives you 100% focus on that goal, and you haven't got to worry about several other things you want to try and do. So it's not a time to lose 2 stone and get put 10 kilos on your back squat, for example. Just 2 different examples from there. Maybe that may be able to be done, but it's not very much in the realms of things. You've got too many things to concentrate on already, just all 2 goals. Set one goal and then go for that goal and try and kill it and go forward from there. If you lack motivation, okay, something that, as I say, at the start it's very easy to get motivated, okay, so a lot of people will pick up motivation just from watching a movie of superheroes and they see the bodies that they have on there, or seeing a celebrity on the beach that they're looking really good over in Miami, or just I don't know, an occasion will be coming up, maybe a wedding or a birthday or something like that, where you want to look your best, okay? So those are a few examples of a bit of early motivation. But as I say, once people actually get into the program, once they start realizing how much hard work it's going to be, how long it's going to take to get to that goal, that motivation can wean off and start dropping down. So if you don't have the motivation, you need to find your reason why. So that is what we're talking about when we're talking about planning and going through your why. That is how your motivation is going to pick up from there. So why are you doing this? Is it going to be a health-related issue? Is it going to be something that you want to do for other members of your family or loved ones, like for pride, for example? Is it an aesthetic reason? That's not a shameful thing to have an aesthetic goal, to want to look good and want to feel good or want to be attractive to the opposite sex, or any of these particular goals that could be considered an aesthetic goal. That's not a problem, and the only thing is really you have to be able to admit that to yourself, and then you're able to move forward and plan from there. So you need to find the why. Why are you going to try and achieve these goals? Why are you trying to push yourself in this direction with your training and your diet? Okay, without that why, it gets very difficult to stay focused later on in the programs, later on in the year, as you're starting to find it really difficult. The calories are super low. You're trying to lose that weight still. Without that why, you're going to quit. You're going to find a reason to pick up the biscuit tin instead of carrying on and pushing forward. And then finally, if you can't stay consistent, okay, you've got a motivation, you've got a why, okay, you know what your goal is, okay, and you know why you want to do that, but sometimes people still find it difficult to actually get to that end result, and that's because of the obstacles that you will eventually meet within your time through that. And again, we go more into detail into this in future videos, but to give you that brief overview, your obstacles they're going to be the things that trip you up. Okay, they're going to be the things that consistently over time have always got in your way when you've got to that point. Whether it be the weather, whether it be certain holidays in the year, whether it be your simple lack of what you're doing. So you might not actually enjoy the training that you're doing or the diet that you're doing. Okay, those obstacles are always going to come about, and if you don't understand them and understand why you have those obstacles and why they've stopped you in the past, you can't move forward and then attack them in the future, because they will come again. And that is the thing that can be assured. Every couple of weeks, every couple of months, you will find one of those obstacles will rear its ugly head, it will jump out in front of you, and then if you've not planned for that particular obstacle that comes about, you're obviously going to hit it, and then you're going to stop, or it's going to knock you back in your training for a few weeks before you get back on the horse and then carry on from there. So really planning as much as you can, okay, and understanding your how, okay, how you're going to avoid these things. If for example, one that's quite a common thing is that, work will come up and you'll have to do a bit of extra work, so you have to work late, so then you can't make it to your training session, and so then it knocks on effect from there. Well, have a plan in place for that. Maybe if you can't make, for example, the 6:15 session in the evening because of late work, then you come along to the 7 o'clock session. Or you come the next day and you come in early before work, or you come in the next day when you weren't planning to and do it from there, or you find another day in the week that you can actually do, or even still, you have a home workout that you can do that's 10-15 minutes, you can do at home. It's not going to be the greatest workout in the world, but it's something to stimulate the brain, stimulate the muscles, and get you moving forward. So those, a couple of plans that you have in place. When that obstacle then comes about, you've got to stay late at work, guess what? You've started to think about your battle plan and started to think about the things you can do to get around that obstacle, rather than just concentrating on the obstacle and how it stopped you and, oh, woe is me, I can't do it. So that is how you basically make the formula work from there. So over the next videos, as we go back into motivation, we go back into discipline, we can delve much deeper into these things and get a bit more volume in terms of the information that I can give you to help you around these things, and how to plan and how to get past these obstacles and how to find your whys and all the rest of it. But up till now, this gives you a nice brief demonstration of what I believe if you bring into your training regimen, your nutrition, your work life, your home life, everything else. If you plan things out, you don't have to be very meticulous. You don't have to jot every single detail down. But if you plan and make sure that you understand what your goals are, then you can attack them much better, and then you can plan for them much better, and that's going to guarantee you those results from there. So results equals effort times consistency, or results equals motivation times discipline. Okay, they're both important aspects of how you're going to achieve your goal. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Any questions or anything else, obviously just drop them on the video below, email us, speak to us in the centre. I'll be more than happy to help people find their whys, find their hows, and build their goals towards getting the results that you guys want. Okay guys, just be awesome guys, I'll see you later.